Welcome back to the Fi-losophy podcast. I'm Andrew. This is Tyson. We are talking about Stoicism. We talked a little bit last time just about the origins of Stoicism and Stoa, what in the world a Stoa is.
You don't remember, Andrew?
It's a marketplace.
Oh, but
A Stoa is a marketplace, which I thought was agora, which is where I thought agoraphobia came from. But I think upon further review...
an agora... Oh, did you look up agora?
No, I'm just looking it up in my brain right now. Agora...
I think agora might also be... I don't remember exactly, but...
I just know agoraphobia is the fear of being in...
outside.
Spaces, yeah, where a lot of people
No, I think
are.
it's outside.
In general?
I think agora...
Good thing we are not psychologists,
But
just philosophers.
someone's going to look it up and say, neither of you guys are right.
Just put it in the YouTube comments. It's fine. We love it when people
Everyone
tell us we're
hates
wrong.
YouTube comments.
Yeah, speak for yourself. I'm a stoic when it comes to my YouTube comments, so try me.
Okay. You're not attached to them.
That's right. That's right. I value the human interaction, which is one principle of Stoicism, and I am capable of reason, which is why I don't make comments in YouTube channels, because usually they're unreasonable.
So you remembered both of the elements of Stoicism that we closed with last time.
Believe it or not, even a blind hog finds an acorn, as a buddy of mine used to say.
Okay, that's great. and I think you also announced what we were going to be talking about today.
I did last week. I'm not sure if I said this time,
No, you
but
didn't.
it is
Not yet.
the cardinal virtues of Stoicism.
Yes, I just want to see if you could remember what.
No, I glanced down at my notes for that one for sure. For sure, I did that.
Okay, so the cardinal virtue. I mean, how much? Do we want to like pad this podcast out a little filler or anything, or are we just going to jump right into
This
it?
was great. I thought that's what we were doing. What do you want to know about me, Tyson? You get one free question. I'll answer truthfully.
No, we're going to go to the cardinal virtues. I think
You sure you don't? I mean, this is your only chance.
we'll do cardinal virtues.
Okay, we'll go cardinal virtues.
How many are there?
7
No, come on.
deadly sins. There are 7 deadly sins, Tyson.
Yes, there are,
And 7
and the movie Seven.
cardinal virtues.
Did you see the movie Seven?
I did.
Oh God, that was so good. I
so
accidentally took a first date to that movie, having
And a last date.
almost very near, very nearly. We walk out of the movie theater. She looks at me dead serious. She goes, "Why did you take me to see that?"
Yes.
And I'm like, I have no idea. I did not know there was going to be a head in the box.
Spoiler alert. Actually, if it's been 20 years, there's no spoilers,
it's
right?
been a
Like
while.
yeah,
It's been a while.
nice.
I think I shouldn't have laughed so loud. All right,
In the theater?
just now.
Oh.
I saw our sound engineer.
Oh, I thought you were worried about laughing in the theater. And I was like, yeah, in that moment, that's probably...
that was not good.
A woman is looking at you like, this is the worst. And he thinks this is funny. Not good.
Yeah, not good. Okay, so there are four cardinal virtues
Okay.
in Stoicism, and they all have a little twist. I mean, so they're represented by just like one word or two words, but they each have a little twist. And I think for most of them, I pulled out a relevant quote. So, we'll be able to sort of unpack these a little bit. Okay, first one is practical wisdom. What is it when I say to you practical wisdom? Like, what do you think?
Common sense.
Oh,
That's what comes to mind.
Yeah, that probably would
Nailed
exactly in English that would be it. But unfortunately,
My
it's
philosophy
wrong
degree
in
is coming on so quickly and wonderfully. This is
in the
great.
light of, but the important part is that wisdom needs to have a practical element to it. Now, for Stoics, that practical is not necessarily like everyday common sense. For the Stoic, it is has a moral angle. So wisdom has a moral angle to it. So practical wisdom means that I understand what is good for me in my life and what is bad for me in my life, and I make wise decisions in that light.
Okay.
Now, normally when we talk about wisdom in philosophy, so in philosophy there are kind of two main divisions: epistemology and ontology. Epistemology has to do with
When people get mad, you pissed them off.
what? No,
What?
it's not it.
Oh,
It is.
I'm shocked.
It
Just
is.
kidding.
It is. What do we know?
Yeah.
And how do And how do we know? How do we gain knowledge? And how do we know that the knowledge that we've gained is actually true?
Gotcha. So this is like Descartes. Now I'm skipping ahead.
Oh, wow.
Look at this.
Yeah, you are.
I think, therefore I am. Like, that's the first thing he could figure out.
Yeah. Because Descartes, well, we're going far afield here, but Descartes, he literally wanted to tear down every possible truth that he could. He wanted anything that was questionable, he wanted to question it. Even if he didn't believe that it should be doubted.
Sure.
If it was in principle able to be doubted, then he wanted to doubt it. He wanted to doubt, for example, his own sanity. He wanted to doubt that there's a physical world around him. Not that he believed any of it, but because in principle, it's something that could be doubted, because he could have been insane and thought himself completely clear-headed. Yeah. He could be dreaming at that moment, and the world around him was completely manufactured by his own brain. So he doubted everything he could doubt, but then he discovered there is one absolute thing you cannot doubt: that you exist. And the reason you know you exist is because if you're correct about your existence, or if you're incorrect about your existence, you still have to exist in order to doubt. I think, whether it's right, whether it's wrong, therefore I am. I have to be. I have to exist. Now, maybe everything else doesn't exist. He builds up after that.
Yep.
But yeah.
Nice.
That's an epistemological
foundational, like how we know what we know.
How we know, because he wanted to because he was super interested in truth.
Yeah.
And wanted to start from the absolute firmest foundation that he could. So in philosophy, there's epistemology. How is it that we know things, and how do we know that they're true? And then there's ontology, which is, what does it mean to be? What is being? Right? What is a thing? What is any particular thing? And these are the kind of the two areas that philosophy is generally interested in. Back to practical wisdom. What I was going to say is that wisdom and truth is normally an epistemological question, and it does not normally contain a moral element to it. This idea that to be wise has the notion of also being good inside of it, which for the Stoics it does. There's a lot of moral elements to Stoicism, and so I got this quote from Massimo Pigliucci, who's a kind of a modern contemporary Stoic scholar. A wise person is the one that takes the right course of action, not just instrumentally but morally. So you could choose something, you could make a wise choice, but unless it's informed by also recognizing that it's the good and right thing to do, it doesn't necessarily fit inside of the notion of practical wisdom.
Interesting. So if you luck into the right choice,
it doesn't mean you exercised wisdom.
Does not mean you exercised wisdom. You just got lucky.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay.
That's right.
Okay. So how do they define moral then? Right.
I mean, generally speaking,
okay.
Good and bad. I mean, I'm not enough of a Stoic scholar to quantify, what where they draw the line between good and bad. But roughly speaking, and we're going to get into this with actually, you know what? We're going to get into this.
It was a leading question, Tyson. It was a leading question. Oh, look at that.
That's
See?
why. That's
look
why
how good.
All right. So let's do
that's good.
Cardinal virtue. Well, you led me right into.
I just laid the path right out. It was perfect.
Right. Next one. Courage. So
that sounds like something that would is a more moral word.
Really?
Yeah. Having courage.
It doesn't make you think of like the battlefield or like defending someone's
honor, right? I guess you can have courage for the wrong side of it, but generally speaking,
yeah, I mean, you could be a real,
right?
You could be a bad guy and be very brave,
I don't know if I should say
right?
This. Yeah, they were probably courageous Nazis, but I don't know if
how do you say it? You just said it,
right?
Yeah, no, but it was exactly. You just illustrated my point, right? That, but in Stoicism, just like in their notion of wisdom, there is this element of being able to separate. If the crowd is going the wrong way, if they're a bunch of Nazis, Courage means recognizing that they're going the wrong way, and I'm going to go in a different way. Again, this moral element to it. Another element, another angle on this courage idea is that, and we talked about a little bit about this last week about emotions and how Stoics. It's not that Stoics have no emotion. It's that Stoics are interested in being able to control their emotion in a certain way and to recognize that that we're emotional and that emotions might take us into directions that we don't want to go in. So there's this idea of courage is to be able to brave the bad things that life sends your way, to be able to separate yourself from a purely emotional reaction. It takes courage to be able to do that sometimes for a human.
Well, and I think the other thing it makes me think of when you talk about not following the crowd, especially when it comes to finances, right? If you're trying to reach financial independence.
It's pretty good that you're bringing financial independence and finance into this conversation, since it is the Fi-losophy.
FI, which stands for financial independence.
Right.
Philosophy.
Yeah.
Whatever philosophy is.
Whatever philosophy
is a big part of this.
Yeah, it's the first part.
But realistically, I think that the ability and the courage to go against what everybody else is doing, particularly when it's money. We know, again, we are not giving financial advice. We never do that. But
we're not giving investment advice.
Investment advice, yeah. That's a good way to say it. Smarter way to say it.
We are giving some advice in regards to finances.
And philosophy and life and,
But go on.
The point being, no, you're good. The point is, when, there are people who have made large sums of money by going against the expected or the rest of the crowd, there are also people who have found financial freedom by not following the same emotional and kind of cultural drive that maybe it is to accumulate more, and so have been able to reach a level of independence at a lower number because they've made a different choice, and there's courage in those choices. And I think that's, as you spend time figuring out your own financial situation and your own financial life, being willing to face that with courage and recognize as a social and kind of connected human, you're going to have to make choices that may require courage to reach the financial goals you have, because they're going to go against what other people are thinking.
That is very wise. That is very, I have nothing to add. You're right. If you're just following along and doing what everybody else is doing, and they're all making bad financial decisions, you're going to make bad financial decisions as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
So courage is a big piece of this.
Is a huge piece.
So we've got practical wisdom, which has this component of morality. Yep. We've got courage, which, as we've established, is not inherently moral, but there is this element that says, okay, I'm going to be willing to do what's right or do what is true, even in the face of the crowd going the other direction.
And in that sense, they actually work together, right? It's first recognizing the wise choice that is a good one, and then having the courage to actually act on that wisdom.
2 of 4.
That's 2 of 4. All right.
3
Number
is
3, justice.
Justice.
All right. So let's unpack just regular justice, and then we'll talk about Stoic justice.
Fair enough.
All right.
Fair enough. Regular justice.
Regular justice. Actually, in this case, they might be pretty close, but go ahead.
Regular justice is doing the fair and right thing and caring about the good of, I'm guessing right now.
Yeah, no, you're doing great. Keep
okay. So you're looking
caring
at
about the good of, you said
other
of,
people.
Okay, that's it. That's it. So in Stoic thought, justice is not just about, what is right, what is wrong, or the thing. It's always in the context. Remember we talked about the twin pillars of social and capable of reason. So justice keeps in mind, it is just for society. It is just for the group. It is not necessarily focused on the individual, but what is justice in the sense of the larger community. Yeah. And so it's not just about you.
So it's not the fierce individualism. It's this sense of, I have to actually watch out for those around me. I have to care for other people. I have to make decisions that would better the world, kind of collectively.
Yep, that's right. Yeah. That's right.
Cool.
And then the last one, we sort of, this thread runs through a lot of Stoic thought, but the last one is called temperance. And you want to take temperance as a...
I don't, because we decided to have a beer in this episode.
Well, a beer could be a temperate decision.
Oh, fair enough.
If we have 6 more beers in the next 15 minutes, probably not so much.
That is, I don't think I could do it.
Yeah. But in any case, yeah, so I think the Stoics are pretty close to what we would what we would normally think of for the definition of this word. It's about regulating oneself, not getting swept up in the heat of the moment. Again, this idea of being a little bit independent, not necessarily being cold, but being able to make a choice that is good for you and doesn't follow the crowd. I love this quote from Marcus Aurelius on the notion of temperance. It's only 6 words, and I want to hear what you think of it. If you seek tranquility, do less.
It's good.
It's good.
I was trying to think of one word. Do less, say less. But no, really, I think really and truly, I think one of the hardest things for people, and why I think, as we're talking about Stoicism and what it has to do with my life, but also the financial life that, you're trying to make for yourself, it is always easy to say, I'm going to do less, or I'm going to spend less, or I'm going to have less, or I'm going to want less, or whatever. But it's actually really hard to feel that way. It's really hard to feel that way. And I think that that's one of the interesting things as you unpack these virtues, particularly. It's like, well, there requires some degree of choice, of courage, and of justice, right? Courage to go against the crowd, but also a kind of a dichotomy there on justice that says, but also do what's good for other people.
For other people,
so
yeah.
So like, I want to go against the crowd because it may not be good what they're doing may not be good for me, but also recognizing that the choices I make, I want them to be good for other people, and then kind of coming in this temperance sense of balance.
That might also be good for the crowd for you to go against them, because
100%.
Maybe they're being,
Foolish.
not so smart. That's right.
Yeah.
And I wanted to pick up on the whole do less thing, because I'm not so sure that people really do think to themselves, oh, I need to do less. I think that for a lot of people, there's this pressure to constantly do more. Mm-hmm. That, oh, I feel guilty because I just binged an entire season on Netflix and I should have been out,
Should have watched more. No.
I should have watched more seasons.
Don't watch more seasons.
These every time we let ourselves do a little less, we feel guilty about it rather than feeling okay about it. And so I think, Marcus Aurelius' point made thousands of years ago, I want to add, and a Roman emperor of all people. But if you seek tranquility, do less.
I think there is a quote that I have heard in the past from a theologian named Dallas Willard, who said, his quote was, if you want to kind of have a spiritual life, he said, one of the best things you can do is ruthlessly eliminate hurry. And it's a similar concept, which is ruthlessly eliminate the hurry that's, you're just striving and running and scrambling and doing all of these things. And at some point, finding a way to find peace, seek tranquility by doing less is a big deal.
You know what? I think I love that, what you just said, because doing less, super important. But then even the things you're doing less of, still doing, even though you're doing less of them, don't hurry. Yeah. If you take something slowly, even I love to use the example of like unloading the dishwasher. I hate unloading the dishwasher. It's one of my chores. So my wife and I, we have different chores. Nice. One of mine is unloading the dishwasher. And I find myself like, as fast as I can, like, putting things together. And then one day I was just like, you know what? I'm going to unload the dishwasher really slow. I'm going to pick things up carefully. I'm going to chit chat with my wife while I'm doing it. I'm not going to rush through it. And it was like, oh, I had fun. I mean, not fun, but it was not a chore.
Yeah.
It was just something that I slowly I incorporated it into my regular life, and now I don't mind unloading the dishwasher, which is just great because I have to do it every day. So now that I don't hate it, it's really nice.
That's fantastic. And on that note, go do your dishes. Enjoy doing your dishes. Spend time with your spouse or significant other while you're doing it. Seek tranquility by doing less. Next week, we'll come back with the dichotomy of control, which is a big word. And also, there's some question about what it means to be in control. I'm clearly not. I'm Andrew. This is Tyson. Thanks for joining us this week. We'll see you next week.
See you next week. Bye.